it was weird for me to acknowledge that I was, whatever. I am at the point where I can say what you're saying or realize that I'm in a weird space. But I realized it was strange because we've just had a couple cloudy days.
Yeah.
And as much as I can even complain about, oh my God, it's too hot, it's like I'm used to the sunshine. So when there's not, it's like the seasonal affective disorder or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, wow, I never knew I was so sensitive to such a thing. Being one of those people that actually likes the dark and likes, you know what I mean? I'm like, it's too sunny to go out. And here I am being like, I've been depressed for the last 3 days and I don't know why.
Right.
It's because it's been cloudy.
Yeah.
Or a part of the reason,
Yeah.
I should say. I don't really know the reason, to be honest, but
Yeah, but
I'm able to be open to the prospect of that. I'm that sensitive that just even it being cloudy affects my mood.
Yes. You know, we are definitely looking at our humanness on a much more subtle level. You know? When you start to look at it on a subtle level, you begin to realize that it's really not quite so subtle. But you say, like you said so perfectly, I didn't even know that I was affected by these things. You know, most people, well, let's not say most people, but when I was, 20 years old and drinking beer and eating garbage food and staying out all night, whether it was sunny or cloudy didn't matter. There was always a cloud over me. You know what I mean? I was just, I was so down that I didn't know what it felt like to feel good. And then what starts to happen is you start to feel good and you're in your practice and you start to feel really good and you start to experience these moments of real bliss and joy for no reason, where you just feel home and you feel like, wow, like everything feels right. And once you start to get a taste of that, that's when you really start to see when it becomes more obvious when you're off. And it's really interesting, as you begin more and more to like observe yourself, you begin to realize how subtle you are and how subtly, you are affected. The full moon, they say people go bonkers around the full moon. Well, you're like 70% water. I don't know how that affects you. It affects the tides. There could be something coincidental or it could be something real. The police will tell you it's something real.
Well, now they're even saying there's something, the new moon, because if you imagine the waxing and the waning, so the full moon is full, you're filled up, and the waxing is like, that's where people feel like they're lacking and what's